The first thing we need to do is to get our simple syrup going. So I'm going to mix equal parts sugar. I just have half a cup of sugar and water. You can use any water. I'm just using bottled because it's easier for the video. Half a cup of water, mix it in with the sugar, and then we're gonna turn our stove on low. Get a super wet paper towel. So I'm just gonna take one and soak it with water and squeeze out just a little bit of the excess. Bring it back over to the counter. It should be so wet that it's leaking onto the counter. And take my Omeprazole tablet, put it in the wet paper towel. You can do this with more than one pill, and just kind of press down to start soaking it in water. After each other step, you're gonna come back to the stove and give your simple syrup another stir, just to make sure the sugar doesn't get stuck to the bottom and it does not burn. So just give it a quick stir. And then go back to what you were doing at the medicine container. The next step is to get your Zegerid capsule. I'm just using one of each thing for this video, so it's a single recipe, a single batch. And you're gonna use a large safety pin to poke a hole in the end of the capsule. It's easier to do it on the side that does not have the writing on it. So we're gonna hold our pill over our medicine container, poke a hole, bless you, and use a small knife to just make a slit from one end to the other. And then you squeeze your pill, you pinch it, and dump all of the powder out into your medicine container. And then I kind of tear part of it off just to make sure I'm getting everything. Give your simple syrup another stir. The sugar's almost all the way dissolved, but not quite yet. The next part of this is to get your calcium carbonate powder. I have a 1/2 teaspoon here. So you get a nice heaping scoop of powder, and then use the same knife that you used for your Zegerid pill, and with the back of the knife, level the scoop off. And add the calcium carbonate to your Zegerid powder in the medicine container. At this point, all of my sugar has dissolved into the water. So I'm gonna stir it up one more time, turn the heat off, and remove it from that eye of the stove to give it a chance to cool down a little bit. You don't want it completely cold for your medicine, but you also don't want it hot enough to burn you. So the first thing you want to do is to use your wet paper towel to just kind of scrub the color off. It's okay if your pill is pink or purple. Just get as much of the color off as you can. Then use your small knife to scrape a piece of the coating off of the edge. And from there, since you have the pill wet, you should be able to just peel everything else off. What I'm peeling off is kind of like glue. And what's left underneath when you know you're done peeling the outer coating off is more of just a powdery tablet. So you see I still have some coating there. I'm gonna pick it off. And then you take your pill, and I like to set it on a dry paper towel to soak up any of the moisture that's left. So the next thing you're gonna do with your dry Omeprazole tablet is to put it into whatever you plan to grind or crush it up with. I like a grinder that turns. Some people have one where you put it in twists, and other people use a mortar and pestle. It's fine either way. But you put your tablet in and then get your lid secured on. You're gonna grind up your Omeprazole tablet until you're left with a very fine powder at the very bottom. Make sure you get it all. Once you have your Omeprazole tablet ground up in your pill grinder or crusher or mortar and pestle, you are going to take the powder and carefully dump it into the container that already has the Zegerid and the calcium carbonate powder in it. Since we are making a 2 milligram per milliliter recipe, the last step is for us to add 20 milliliters of either water or simple syrup. In this case, we're using simple syrup as flavoring. So I have a 10 milliliter syringe. So I'm gonna fill it up twice and add it to my medicine to equal 20 milliliters. Then you want to put the lid on your container and shake it really vigorously. You want to look at the bottom to make sure there's no clumps. And then the medicine goes into the refrigerator, and you are going to set a timer for every 15 to 30 minutes for the next 3 hours to shake it each time your timer goes off. And after that, your medicine is complete.